Hi, eighth graders. This is Mrs. Schapper coming with you with some absolute value equations. So let's just do a little bit of review. We haven't talked a lot about absolute value in a while, so let's just try to bring back that memory. So absolute value means the distance from zero. Okay, so if I have the absolute value of 3, that's 3. And if you remember from when we talked about absolute value earlier in the year, I like to really accentuate the absolute value bars so I don't think that they're ones. All right, so you might want to do the same thing. The absolute value of -5 is 5 because it's 5 away from 0. Okay, now 0 has two different sides. There are two sides to 0. And so when we want to know how many numbers share the same absolute value, so how many numbers are the same distance away from 0, there are two numbers, 5 and -5, 2 and -2, -76 and 76. There are two numbers that have the same absolute value. The exception is 0, because 0 is 0 away from 0. So when we're solving an absolute value equation, in almost every case, there are two answers because there's two separate sides to 0. So in most cases, we're going to have two separate answers. So we've done a lot of work with checking. I don't know if we necessarily have to do that, but it is showing you here a little bit of just evaluating, and we did those earlier too. But what you're doing is you're putting this value in. So this was more evaluating like what we did towards the beginning of the year. So I'm just going to move right past this. What I want to do is get into solving them and then graphing them and showing you what that means. So all right, got your thinking hats on. This is new stuff. I need you totally in tune with what we're doing, okay? So the absolute value of 3x is 27. We know that absolute value means distance from 0, okay? So I want to show you something. On a number line, here's 0, okay? There are two numbers that are 27 away from 0. Those two numbers are 27 and -27. So what we're saying is that 3 times a number needs to get me to 27, and 3 times a number needs to get me to -27. And so when I'm looking at this, the two equations I need to set up are 3x is equal to -27 and 3x is equal to +27. Because I'm on both sides of 0. And so when I solve these out, I'm going to divide by 3. So x equals -9. X equals +9. So my two answers are 9 and -9. And this is a 9, by the way. Okay. Two answers, two sides of 0. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. I have 2x, the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is 7. What that tells me, all right, that I need to be 7 away from 0 on the positive and 7 away from 0 on the negative. 2x minus 1 has to get me to 7, and 2x minus 1 has to get me to -7. That's what it's telling me. So my two equations I need to set up are 2x minus 1 equals -7, and 2x minus 1 equals +7. And now teachers really like absolute value equations because we like deals. I kind of call this a 2-for-1, right? I get you to solve two equations in one problem. It's a 2-for-1. I like it. So now we go through and we solve these two equations. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So 2x is -6. I'm going to divide by 2. So x equals -3. let's move that up this way. And then I'm going to solve on the other side. And I'm pulling up my equation solving that I worked on in Unit 3, variables on one side, and I'm going to solve this out. Divide by 2, x equals 4. Now, notice how last time the numbers that we got for an answer were opposites. This time they're not. And so what I need you to see is you can't always just solve it and then make the other number negative, because that's not always going to be the case. We actually need to solve both equations. We really do. Okay. So let's try another one. Okay. Here's a couple more. The absolute value of 8 times a number minus 9 is 17. So what that tells me is that I'm going to need to be 17 away on the positive and 17 away on the negative side. So 8x minus 9 has to get me to positive 17, and 8x minus 9 has to get me to negative 17. So that helps me with my two equations that I need to solve out. So I've got 8x minus 9 equals negative 17, and 8x minus 9 equals 17. Those are my two equations I need to solve. So I'm going to start by adding 9. 8x is equal to negative 8. Divide by 8. X equals negative 1. Then I'm going to add 9 to both sides. 8x is equal to 28, because 17 plus 9 is 28. Just kidding, 26. See my mistake there? Divide by 8. X equals 13/4. Okay. Now, it's important that we recognize that we can't just take one number and make the other one negative. Okay. So when I number it, it's going to be negative 1. And it's going to be 13/4. And here's my 0. Okay. Let's do one more together, and then I'm going to let you work on worksheet 4-5. We're going to do a few problems for today. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to show you a sketch of what this looks like again. I need to get to 4. So 4 to the positive and 4 to the negative. So y plus 2 gets me to 4. Y plus 2 gets me to negative 4. Those help me set up my two equations. Now, you've never done this before, so take your time. That's why we're only assigning 6 today. Take your time. Do your best. Check your work. I know it's not easy. I know it can be challenging. Reach out, ask for help. That's why I'm here, okay? So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Y equals negative 6. Subtract 2 from both sides. Y equals 2. And I can plot those on my number line. Negative 6 and 2. So take some time to practice it. Come to our next meet with some questions, and I look forward to helping you out and helping you be super successful with what we're doing. Enjoy your day.